great for you to be making time for us, mate. Like, we do appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. I love. I'm crazy about this film, and I wish the whole world would see it.
Yeah, it arrives at a really interesting time for us because we've just had a sovereign citizen incident with a guy still on the run after killing two cops. So it's like it's really strange for us.
I saw that. Yeah, that's it's wild. I mean, I knew of some other ideologies surrounding QAnon and kind of the Proud Boys, January 6th, other conspiracy theory driven ideologies, but I wasn't familiar with sovereigns until researching for this film, and it's pretty wild
It,
that people the things that people can think.
it absolutely is, and I was actually going to mention that sort of when you, I guess, look at it from a strip away all the crazy, dangerous elements of this whole movement, and look at it from a psychological point of view. There is some, I guess, somewhat understandable distrust in authority. What did you take away from your research, and did you gain a greater understanding of the people that are wrapped up in or poisoned by it?
Sure. I mean, the way I choose every project I do is when the writing moves me. And I'm lucky enough, things have gone well enough. I mean, it's crazy to be able to even choose acting jobs, period. But now I sort of have this policy where if I read it and it's like a perfectly good heist movie, I'm like, that's fine, but I'm not going to do it. Like I have to read it, and it makes me say, I think I have to do this. And this was so exquisitely written. It's got such a deft. And by the way, it's his debut feature, Christian Swagel. It's quite astonishing. And I was just so moved by the humanity that he injected into this narrative. Um, and I could so easily see myself in this misguided, even somewhat mentally ill character. But I lived in poverty for a long time. I was worked as a laborer, paycheck to paycheck as a carpenter, and it only takes one or two wrong moves or unlucky choices to suddenly find yourself on the street or on the wrong side of the law or what have you. And so, I mean, it just with all of the grievance and anger, so much of it generated by corporations. I think in this day and age, it felt really important to me to humanize and see to humanize people of all ideologies and understand that no matter what you think or who you voted for, when you fall victim to insurance companies or banks or even government policies, there is a lot of unfairness in that world. And so while, I think a lot of obviously what this guy thought was wrong, he's still someone who deserves the dignity of human rights and like a supportive infrastructure. And I think that if the population of our countries can recognize the humanity in each other like that, then we'll stand a better chance of banding together and bringing down the billionaires that love to see us shaking our fist at each other.
Well, that was the most interesting thing about the film was the parallels between your character and the Dennis Quaid character, and the way that they treat their son, but also their philosophy on kind of life. It's just flip sides of the same coin. Just one's on one side of the law, and the other one happens to be on the other side.
Yeah, I love that about it. I think it's brilliant what Christian did that way because I've got a great old fashioned dad who is still with us. I really love him and look up to him, and he was a stern disciplinarian. He was not I mean the sort of goofy jackass artist that I turned out to be. I wouldn't have guessed that I would come from my dad, even though he and my mom have a great sense of humor. Um, but like in this day and age, that sense of old-fashioned masculinity being pushed on our young men, I think is a huge source of the toxicity that's fueling a lot of social ills. And I love the very gentle and human way Christian got that across, where it was like these guys are teaching violence. They're teaching masculine, a sort of muscular sensibility to succeeding in life. And how's that working out for all of them in this movie? And what if we try to take better care of each other and turn towards empathy and say, look, there are times when we should be firm with each other, but there are times when we should hug one another and recognize that we're all vulnerable animals as well.
Well, ironically, in the film, it's your character that is preaching the non-violence. He believes in the system, but his system, as opposed to the kind of Dennis Quaid character who, like, it's violence first because you don't know what's going to happen. So, you take him down, take him out, and then ask questions.
It's true, although there are some pretty conflicting things that come, like Jerry, even in one speech says like you have to not only kill your enemy, but his wife and his kids and his uncles.
Yeah,
But we shouldn't kill anybody. Like
but-
he
yeah.
would make
Yeah,
a
stop the
great
tape.
modern
Stop the tape.
politician.
'Cause,
Yeah, exactly.
Some actors say that it's difficult to they take the characters home with them. Is it easy for you to separate at the end of the day, or is it a mindset that you are caught up in?
No, I'm not that way. I don't understand. I think that's a. I mean, I think that's sort of a choice to. It's an indulgence to expect the world around you, like your Uber driver. Like, listen, I'm playing a serial killer, so if you just don't make eye contact, please, and call me the butcher. I don't. I don't. I'm. In fact, as soon as we're done with the take, I'm usually then trying to make the crew laugh because we're putting them. It's such a grueling experience to shoot these harsh emotional scenes. So then I try to bring levity when the camera's not rolling.
the thing that I struggled with most, which in the film was, and all, props to the production designer on the film, but the mess in the kitchen and in the front yard, and you're like, oh, just like that's the part, at the end of the day, I'd be like, I've just got to clean up. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I've
it's
just got to put some stuff, some empty bottles in the trash. I've got to do it.
massive props to our art department. It really, in the living room too, just
Yeah.
the detritus that had such a reality to it. And I saw our house in pre-production before because we shot a bunch of stuff before we got to shooting at the house. And so I got to see it when they rented it, and it was just kind of plain and it was a little run down, but it was clean. And just the if you could go back, I would love a little documentary on a plain, like, sort of cream colored wall, and then they added just all of this patina of like mold creeping in or like water stains drip coming down. It's really it's an incredible art form because when they do it right, it should make you feel the way it made you feel, but without calling attention to itself, where
Yeah.
you're not you it feels real, and so you're like, oh, this is disgusting. This is two boys who need some help with their cleaning skills.
Well, that's the thing that the reason it set me off was because at the start of the film, when you come home for the kind of first time, and you give your son a pat on the shoulder for the yard looking great. You're like, what?
That's right. It was looking worse than it
It
was.
was.
You cleaned a bunch of scrap iron and put it back by the shed.
There is authenticity to that, because this story we've got down in Australia at the moment, they lived in the same squalor. Like, it's an interesting mindset, I guess. And speaking of authenticity, I looked into the real story behind this film, and you guys recreated those two particular moments of violence really precisely. It was a lot of orchestration put into this, and being such a small independent film, did you have much time to get it right?
That's a great question, and that's a testament to our producer named Nick Mosseri, Moceri. we shot for a very small budget, and it was, I want to say 24 days or 28 days, wait, like half the days we should have had, which is always the case with a little independent movie. And he and Christian did such an incredible job of recreating these couple of shootout scenes with such meticulous care, because you have to, because it's based on a real event, you really have to kind of get it right for the obvious reasons, but also to sort of honor the real life victims of the crimes. And the sort of final scene in the parking lot, uh, we had 2 days to shoot that, and we had an incredible. I, it's been a long time. I've done a few jobs since so I don't remember the people's full names, but we had the most incredible munitions armorer named Woody. I don't know Woody's last name, but he was so incredible at taking care. And we're shooting in Arkansas not long after the tragedy went down in Santa Fe with Alec Baldwin and on the set of Rust, where
Hmm.
the DP got accidentally killed. And so, that creates some tension and some extra care to doing things right. And our armorer with all of these firearms, all of these incredibly loud, chaotic rounds being fired. We had 2 days to do that big scene, and there were storms. And on a film set, there's this ironclad rule that if there's lightning, and I want to say it's a little crazy. I want to say it's within 5 miles. It's pretty. It's a pretty big circle. If there's lightning within 3 or 5 miles, you have to shut it down. You have to shut down the whole set because of the generators and the lighting equipment. Like naturally, if there's lightning, you do run the risk of attracting the lightning. So I appreciate that. I absolutely err on the side of safety when it comes to stunts and fights and all that stuff. You should never risk anybody getting hurt for what ultimately is just, putting on a show. But we had 2 days to shoot that, and we lost an entire day to lightning. And so we had to get 2 days worth into one day, and it was just incredible. I mean, it was such a testament to the acumen of our crew and our producers, that we managed to pull it off. And I love. I got into the business. I got into theater, wanting to just transform. I love, if I could, I'd just go full like Gary Oldman, where every role, or even Eddie Murphy, like nut in the clumps or whatever. Like I love
Yeah.
just being like, wait, that was him. That's my favorite thing in the world. And so to get to do a lot of the stuff, I had a set of fake teeth. I had these really cool contact lenses for when I got the eye injury, and learning to use those firearms. And one of the interesting things about using that AK-47 was that the way sort of Rambo would use it, or the way that like a kid, if you wanted to look cool
Hmm.
playing some sort of, war games, is actually not how you fire that weapon the most efficaciously. And it's funny because the way you hold it is not doesn't look as cool as like what Schwarzenegger would do. And I had to stop and be like, well, hang on a second. You're telling me to like hold it out like this? And they're like, yeah, that's because that allows you to sort of point,
Shock absorber too, yeah.
yeah, with more accuracy. And I was like, okay, I'm going to selflessly choose to look not as cool
Cool.
as I would like to for verisimilitude.
Oh my god, we're just about out of time, and we do have to let you run. But I was going to ask you, what's your favorite mode to work in? Mustache, beard, or clean shaven?
Oh, that's a great question. And if you want it, I've got 10 more minutes if we
Okay,
can
cool.
we can afford the Zoom. Hang on, let me crank this up.
It's
Nine
Edward G.
minutes.
Robinson in Soylent Green. You got to pedal on the bike to keep it going.
I don't. I mean, I honestly don't have. In real life, I am very simple. I'm a natural man, as they say, and so I would just like to have a big beard because that's how Mother Nature built me. My wife does not agree with that. And we've been together 25 years, and she has put up, gosh, she's put up with every possible facial hair and like shaving my head and just all kinds of, and nothing ever to be attractive, always to be some sort of Bukowski, shit-faced drunk. Um, and so, to answer your question, it really depends on the role. I mean, I, you know, whatever serves the role the best. And so across the spectrum, uh, I don't have a favorite, but off the top of my head, uh, probably the best example of one of those options serving a role would be Ron Swanson in Parks and Recreation, wearing my mustache as that guy. Uh, Felt like I was in my prime as an athlete. Like I was hitting the ball with the greatest consistency.
Do you ever get offered faking in real life?
Say again?
Do you ever get offered faking the fake bacon in real life?
Oh, no, no, I don't.
I think you're a brave man whenever you go clean shaven because I've been with my wife for over 15 years and I've only ever shaved my beard off once. And the second I walked out the bathroom, she told me never do that again.
You know, I mean, it is a drag. People do hate it when I shave. But like, if you look at Ron Swanson, when we would put on his clothes in fittings, if it looked at all good, it went out the door. And if it looked embarrassing, like we were like, okay, this looks horrible. Now try tucking that into those pleated pants. Oh, this is so embarrassing. That's the look. And so for some reason, I love obstinately playing that. And so when people react to my clean shaven face, I'm like, okay, good. That means I look real in a way that I'm not trying to look as hunky as possible. And, and hopefully that'll make me effective as a performer. Yeah.
The mustache just gives you this air of authority, though. That really works in like much more so than the beard. I wish I could like my mustache doesn't grow properly and it doesn't connect, which has always been like a a bugbear of mine. But I always feel like people would take me more seriously if I had a decent mustache, like like a Tom Selleck kind of, which is, kind of,
What
which is like
you're
you. I mean, like I thought it was a travesty that they hired that guy to play Magnum when you were around with that mustache, willing to work. That would have been perfect casting.
Yeah, the business doesn't always agree with the best thinkers, but here we are.
Something that you do that I really love is all of your the books that you make, the woodwork books. And I've got to admit, I have got on pre-order the Little Woodchucks book that you've done because my niece and nephew are into crafts and all that kind of stuff. Have you thought of crossing that world into film and making some kind of movie adapted from that stuff?
Well, first of all, thank you. I'm really proud of my books. Little Woodchucks is my sixth book, and I love, again, getting to contribute something medicinal by way of making people laugh, and maybe, we're all learning a little something together. Um, and I would love. Here's the thing. I once did a show, gosh, 22 years ago for Courtney Cox and David Arquette. Used to be married, and they had a design show, an inexpensive design show on a cable channel in 2003 called the Women's Entertainment Network, the We Channel. And I was their wisecracking carpenter. This was 5, 6 years before Parks and Rec started. And I was just the clown carpenter who made all the furniture on the design show. And it was really fun. It was really incredibly hard work. And what I learned was, because I love making things of very high quality, I learned that I never want to combine a shooting schedule with my love of woodworking, because you can't make something good in the amount of time that a budget affords you to shoot it. So, unless you make something really simple. If we were making an hour-long show, I could maybe make you a wooden spoon. It's like, and so and then when Parks and Rec happened, we actually shot a few episodes in my shop. Like Ron Swanson's shop was my wood shop.
Mhm.
And so, naturally the business would call and say, "Hey, let's do a woodworking show. We'll make a lot of money." I was like, I'm not going to impose that on my shop. We love making great things in my shop, and if we try to do a show, we're not going to make great things. We're going to have to make fake great things really quickly. But I definitely, I've only seen a few things in my life there's a there was a movie where Costner built a built a house.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
with
a
Ben Affleck. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and there's a
Company Man, something like that.
yeah, that sounds right. Um, there's a and it's never, Costner's not a woodworker, so like it's never good, but no one knows. Like all you have to
Yeah.
do, he's very good at what he does, and the audience, except for the tiny amount of woodworkers, the only one I know of is Mark Harmon, is actually a really talented woodworker, and his specialty is he refurbishes the interior of Airstream trailers, which is it's like building, and I think on his show NCIS, I've never seen it, but I've been told I think he built like a sailboat in the basement kind of thing, the kind of boat that you can never get out of the house.
Yeah.
So from what I've heard, he actually is an exquisite like like top level woodworker. Um, and I mean, I would love to do something. It would just require. I also love agrarian subject matter, so I'd love to turn people on to knowing about agriculture and
Mhm.
caring about what's in their food, and also woodworking and how like fine furniture or boats or guitars or things like that are made. I would love to incorporate that into my filmmaking, but it's all gonna require good writing, which has not come across my table yet. So
Yeah.
hopefully it's in my future.
I get lost on YouTube to that stuff all the time.
I did want to ask, speaking of early in your career, one of your first gigs was on the first season of The West Wing when you played Jerry, a character who I'm sure they've recycled that name. West Wing is notorious for recycling names, but Jerry. But what was that? Was before the hype, before anyone knew that show was going to be the hit that it was. What was being on that set like?
It was pretty incredible. I mean, when things like that happen, we in town knew. Like, uh, I had done it came out of there was a great producer, or is a great producer named Tommy Schlamme, who produced and directed a lot of ER. And even something else before that, I can't remember, but some other big tentpole procedural show. And Tommy was really nice to me. I mean, he had me on ER, and and they shared producers and a casting director. So when The West Wing happened, everybody knew it was going to be incredible. Martin Sheen playing the president. I mean, and Allison Janney is one of those actors that whatever she's on, you're like, oh shit, that's going to be the good show. And also Bradley Whitford, Richard Schiff, John Spencer, etc. So for me, as a dipshit, like just trying to get a guest star job, it was insane, and it was really interesting because I was over the moon. I was kind of mad. I wish I could run into this guy. I have just one or two scenes, and I'm part of a team of three where we're pitching this wolves only highway, and there's a main guy, and then me and my friend Rachel each had like a couple of lines, And the main guy, whose name was also Nick, didn't know his goddamn lines on the day. He showed up and didn't know his lines, and I was just like, and my friend Rachel and I I knew we had done Chicago theater together, and we're just sitting there looking at each other like, you got 8 lines, dude. Like you got this gig on the West Wing, and you don't know your fucking lines. I was so mad. But still, I was so over the moon to get to be on it, and I was outside the soundstage, and I had met these guys because it was an NBC show, and my wife Megan Mullally was on Will and Grace at the time, and so I knew a lot of the gang from being around events and stuff. And Brad Whitford is from Wisconsin, and so we always call each other Wisconsin and Illinois. And I ran into him and Richard Schiff in the parking lot on my way in one day, and I said, I was like a giggly schoolgirl, and I said I was so excited, and aren't you guys excited? And it was really interesting. I'll never forget, because of the arduous side of the West Wing and the difficult parts of. I mean, I think the hardest part dealing with a genius like Aaron Sorkin is that they would be handed like 12 new pages the day, like when you get to work and they're like, I've rewritten the whole thing, here, learn, like, so it was just really crazily hard sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, luckily a show with easy dialogue, nothing, no
Yeah.
3-letter acronyms to remember or anything like that.
While walking quickly down the hall and like disseminating file
Yeah.
papers.
Walk and talk, yeah.
And so it was funny because I was so excited for my 3 lines, and they shook their heads and they were like, yeah, well, just be careful what you wish for.
I hate to cut it short because I feel like we're just warming up and we could probably talk all day. I'd love to deep dive into your career, but I know the publicist is probably like shitting herself right now thinking, we've got to get to the next one. So
Yeah, okay. I do have a next one.
Do appreciate your time though. Like, I'd love to chat again sometime because there's a lot I'd like to talk about.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, gents.
Hello? 1-1, where is your emergency? Exit 275 on 40. These guys just shot a police officer right on the exit.
I need to ask you a few questions. Maybe you can help me get to the bottom of what happened. Can you do that for me? You two were on some kind of road trip?
My dad travels for work.
There is no money. It's all just numbers on a ledger. And when it all comes collapsing down, who do you think they expect to come around and clean up the mess?
What about school?
I'm homeschooled. He says that he wants me to be an independent thinker.
Power's in the people. Always remember that.
We found some weapons in the van you were driving. Your father has, he ever been violent?
Next time, aim more for the head. You know, they wear bulletproof vests.
It sounds to me like your dad doesn't like the government very much.
They demand that you beg. They're sick like that. You know, they're psychotic, psychopaths.
I mean, I don't want to have to kill anybody. But if they keep messing with me, then I'm afraid that's what it's going to come down to. And if I have to kill one, then I'm not going to be able to stop. I just know it.
They think they can just, you know, keep squeezing blood out of a stone. But at some point, you have to let them know that you won't be pushed any further.
This is an illegal stop.
Sir, get back in the car.
What law did I break?
Get back in the
Tell me
car
what
right
law
now.
I broke and I'll comply. Sir?
They're sick in the head, that's all. So we just gotta play their silly-ass little games. And go in there and kill the monster under the bed.